Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning for another news update for Sunday, October 26, 2025. And I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a blessed Sunday. And in the news this morning, seek shelter now. Melissa intensifies into powerful Category 3 hurricane. Hurricane Melissa has strengthened into a Category 3 system, becoming a major hurricane, according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center. The National Hurricane Center says Melissa is expected to continue rapidly intensifying with damaging winds and heavy rainfall already affecting parts of Jamaica. Conditions are forecast to worsen through Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday. Residents across the island are being urged to seek shelter immediately and remain indoors for the next several days as the storm's impacts intensify. Jamaica remains under a hurricane warning. A hurricane warning means that within the next 36 hours or less, Jamaicans should expect dangerously high water or a combination of dangerously high water and exceptionally high waves, even though winds expected may be less than hurricane force, as well as average winds of 64 knots or 119 kilometers per hour or higher. In its 10 p.m. update on Saturday, the National Hurricane Center said Melissa, which is south of Jamaica, is moving toward the west near 3 miles per hour or 6 kilometers per hour. A slow westward motion is expected tonight through the end to the weekend. A turn to the north and northeast is forecast on Monday and Tuesday. On the forecast track, the center of Melissa is expected to move near or over Jamaica during the weekend and early next week, and it could be near or over eastern Cuba by the middle of next week. The National Hurricane Center said maximum sustained winds have increased to near 115 miles per hour or 185 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. Continued rapid intensification is forecast during the next day or so, followed by fluctuations in intensity. Melissa is expected to be a major hurricane when making landfall in Jamaica early this week. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 25 miles or 35 kilometers from the center, and the tropical storm force winds extend outward up to 160 miles or 260 kilometers. Jamaica's Met Service said expected rainfall amounts of 350 to 650 milliliters or 15 to 25 inches over parts of Jamaica in the next few days, making catastrophic flash floods and landslides likely. It said a dangerous storm surge is becoming more likely along the south coast of Jamaica later in the weekend or early this week. Peak storm surge heights could reach 7 to 11 feet above ground level near and east of where the center is expected to make landfall. Tropical storm force winds are expected to initially affect the island mainly over eastern parishes last night, with hurricane conditions expected by today or Monday. Melissa became a hurricane on Saturday. Expect more damage than Gilbert, Ivan, and Beryl, Met Service warns. While Jamaica is no stranger to tropical storms, Principal Director at the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, Evan Thompson, has warned that the looming Hurricane Melissa could hit the island with a greater effect than Jamaicans have ever seen for decades. Addressing a special media briefing at Jamaica House on Saturday, Thompson confirmed that Jamaica should be seeing the worst of Melissa starting today after some sections of the island experienced the storm force wind and rain last night. According to Thompson, Melissa, which has been meandering through the region since last week as a tropical storm, will see rapid intensification starting today as it moves on a course that the consensus is should take it across the east and the south of Jamaica before heading northwards across the island from Clarendon. It should make impact with the coastal line by Tuesday morning. Today is Saturday morning, so we have about 3 days of movement. During this period, we will be experiencing quite a bit of rainfall. Much of that rainfall will be moving across Jamaica, and that will be producing significant flooding over sections of the country, said Thompson, as he noted that sections of the country could get 20 to 30 inches of rainfall, the most ever to be recorded in recent memory. When we have 2 inches of rainfall, that is a whole heap of rainfall. So when we talk about 15 to 25 inches, that is much more than you can even imagine to experience. I wish I could describe it, because we don't usually get that level of rainfall. But if you have experienced any of our major rain producers in the past, this is going to be more, added Thompson, who warned that the flooding could be life-threatening. Thompson noted that the slow pace at which Melissa is moving could make it stay with Jamaica for some 5 days, with 2 days of storm-force winds and 3 days of hurricane-force winds. So expect that throughout this week, we will be impacted by this system. It will be very difficult to move around, even after the system has basically said that it is moving away, warned Thompson, as he noted that some of the assessment and the cleanup activities, which are usually done just after a weather system passes, will be much delayed this time around. We are going to be prevented because of blocked roads, because of landslides, because of the amount of water that remains over the country, and it is going to be very difficult to move around, assuming that all of this pans out the way that it is being projected at this time, said Thompson. The veteran meteorologist noted that Melissa could impact Jamaica at a Category 4 strength, with winds of 130 to 156 miles per hour, which would be stronger than Jamaica has experienced before. Hurricane Gilbert in 1988 was a Category 3 when it moved across Jamaica. It became a Category 4 when it was heading to the Cayman Islands. Ivan in 2004 was a Category 4 hurricane, yes, but the center did not pass over the island. Beryl in 2024 was also a Category 4 hurricane, but it also did not impact us with a landfall. It was a direct hit because we got the heavy rainfall and the associated weather, but it did not move over the island in terms of the center of the system, noted Thompson. We have not had this experience before, so it is important for us to consider this as an extraordinary situation, declared Thompson, as he warned that heavy rain and flooding will continue even after Melissa leaves Jamaica and heads towards Cuba. Thompson further warned that Jamaica could also face storm surges, which could devastate some communities, as happened to the corporate area community of Caribbean Terrace during the passage of Hurricane Ivan in 2004. That community no longer exists in the way that it used to because of storm surge. We would also know that with Ivan, with Dean in 2007, and even with Beryl, we had significant storm surges on the southern coastline, in Rocky Point, in Portland Cottage, and there are other areas on the south coast that also were affected by storm surge. Storm surge is also a flooding event, but it is not the flooding from the rainfall. It is flooding that comes in with the water from the sea. With the tremendous winds that a Category 4 hurricane can produce, that will push the water onto the shoreline, and with it pulling back into the sea, it takes houses and the communities even back into the sea along with it, said Thompson. He urged the Jamaicans living close to the shoreline to pay attention to the possibility of storm surges, particularly people living in St. Thomas, Portland, Kingston, and St. Andrew initially. But Thompson noted that people in St. Mary, St. Catherine, Manchester, and Clarendon will also face a danger. Man plans to brave Hurricane Melissa from roadside hut. Driving past the Monza housing scheme in Greater Portmore, St. Catherine, heading in the direction of the Portmore Municipal Building, it would be difficult for one not to notice a hut-like structure located under a tree on the left side of the road. Under that hut-like structure is 40-year-old Kirk Walker. Walker told the news on Saturday that he has been living in deplorable conditions at the location since 2002 after he was forced to leave the Monza scheme where he said he lived. As Hurricane Melissa approaches Jamaica, threatening to batter the island with heavy rains and winds, he appeared on Saturday to be in no hurry to run to a shelter. He shared that he would love assistance to find a decent place to live eventually, but in the meantime, he plans to brave the storm. Having braved the hurricane Beryl at the location last year, he believes he can do it again during Melissa, which is projected to become a major hurricane by the time it makes expected landfall in Jamaica early this week. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.